Little Betty Babe, my mama brought me in the free. And them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana. In them old cotton fields back home. Well, when them cotton balls get rotten, you won't pick very much cotton. In them old cotton fields back home. It was down in Louisiana, just about a mile from Texarkana. In them old cotton fields back home. In them old cotton fields back home. Hello there.
Hello. How are you doing there, Mr. Inglis? Nice to see you.
Very, very well.
Good, good. And I think we should immediately pay a huge tribute to our technical engineer, Dave Ewell, who has helped tremendously in getting tonight's broadcast underway. So many thanks to Dave. George, you are a UK country chart #1 artist.
Yeah.
Can we start at the beginning though? What were your first steps in music? Singing, playing, what came first?
Well, my first steps in music, sir, was when I was a little baby child. I got a mouth organ and I played a tune on that.
Wow.
And then I got a squeeze box and to
Yeah.
be like you. And that was too easy. So I no.
They are, aren't they? Eh?
Then I got the guitar, and by the time I got playing the guitar, I would be about 12, 13 years old, and that was about the time when Don Gibson, Del Shannon, all these guys were in the charts at that time, and the tunes were quite easy to play, you know. They were like 3 or 4 chords. And
yeah, but
the Beatles came along and ruined the whole thing. If I remember rightly. But no, I loved Bill Haley and Elvis and Tommy Steele and all these guys. They were great, you know. Is that enough about that?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, did you have any kind of formal lessons on anything, or was it self-taught?
Well, I went to Jimmy Clinkscale a few times to get lessons.
Wow.
On his box, but
Wow.
he threw me out. Well, he didn't. To be fair, we remained friends all his life, you know. But he said, you know, unless you're going to take this seriously, you'd be better saving the money.
Yeah. I think that to a certain extent, Jimmy Clinkscale was a licentiate to the British College of Accordionists, so there would be back then this sort of expectation that you go away, you practice, you do the necessary work on the theory side of stuff, and if you're influenced by as I say, as you just said, the artists, who would be your sort of your main idol, if it were, your #1 idol?
Then it was Jimmy Shand at that point, but I could play all the tunes.
Right.
When I went to Jimmy, he said, stop, forget that. You're going to do A, G, B, D, F, or whatever it was. Or everybody, good boy deserves smacking the log,
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. And I thought, oh, no, I can't be bothered with this.
Yeah. So apart from Jimmy Shand, of the sort of pop world, country western and stuff, who was your sort of biggest idol?
Well, as I said before, there was like Bill Haley, Tommy Steele, there was there was Elvis, God bless him, can't forget him. He was a big influence,
I mean, is it fair to say that Elvis, he kind of used the guitar more as a prop rather than playing it? Is that fair?
That would be wrong. That'd be very wrong. A lot of people think that because latterly he didn't, he had all these musicians, but Elvis was quite a good guitar player.
Yeah.
And a bit of a pianist as well.
Yeah. I'm going to say, I think he also played accordion.
I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
No, he was He's a pretty good guitar player.
Yeah. Okay. Just moving swiftly on then. So what was the music scene like when you sort of first started going out gigging? What sort of bands did you put together? Was it you that was in charge of the bands and you put them together? Or how did it work?
Well, my first foray into the scene, I would be about 18. I started to run a folk club actually
Oh wow.
in Galashiels.
Yeah.
And well, we had people every weekend. Mike Whelan's was a regular. Do you remember? Mike?
Yeah. Yeah. Mike Whelans.
Yeah.
He's
And,
Lauder, isn't he?
Pardon?
He's in Lauder.
Yeah.
He's up in Lauder. Yep.
And I remember there was a group called the Corries back then. They were a very big
yes.
thing.
Yeah.
And we had the Corries at the Abbotsford Hotel, and I think we sold about 100 tickets.
Wow.
And then, then we had them at the Waverley Castle, and we sold 500 tickets.
Wow.
And then we had them in the Pavilion Cinema, and we sold 1,000 tickets.
Fantastic.
So, then they went on and started doing it themselves after that.
Yeah.
But and when the folk club eventually moved to the Waverley Castle, as I say, and Billy Connolly, Jerry Rafferty,
Oh, yeah.
used to come, Barbara Dixon, God, just all other kids that were going around at that time. They were all just kids.
I'm picking up the fact that this is an interesting mix of the fact that although very much Scottish sort of roots heritage, you're sort of you've grown up in all this Scots music, but very much influenced by the pop. But as I say,
well, that's where country western music came from, by the way.
Yes, yeah,
the Scottish and Irish people that went across there.
Absolutely.
Played their tunes, and a lot of the country tunes, even as a little kid, I thought, why do some of these cowboy tunes sound like Irish tunes?
Yes.
I made that connection when I was a little boy going to cowboy movies,
Yeah.
And it's but it's so intertwined,
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So you started off your folk club. Where did that used to meet then? In Gala?
Started off in the Abbotsford Arms.
Yeah.
Hotel, and then it went to Waverley Castle. We built a place, a kind of dungeon bar, and we built it ourselves. And
wow.
When we had big name acts, we had to have them up the stairs. Well, the Corries had to go upstairs because they were meant to go down the stairs, but we sold that many tickets.
Wow.
Up in the big ballroom,
Excellent.
And I did a few things in the Waverley Castle. So that was a jolly good experience,
Yeah. So when did you get round to sort of, did you start off as a playing and singing solo and then get into bands, or was it the other way around?
Well, that's right. That's the next story. Well, I got a duo together with this guy called Bobby Fish. And this was in about 1969, 70 time, around that time. And we did quite well too. It was mainly folky stuff. And we did 10 weeks on Alistair Clark's Folk and Pop show on the BBC radio.
Wow.
And then after that, I was got caught up in a lot of business problems, and I couldn't do all the traveling, we were going to travel further and further. I wanted to stay at home, so I left, and not long, he went and formed Johnny and the Rockers, and he's just kind of retired a bit now, but they were all around Europe.
Wow.
And then I started Rocking Horse later, so I started Rocking Horse so that I could play and get back home at night, so I didn't want to go away traveling, living at the back of a van and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Rocking Horse certainly in the Borders, is well known, and probably a lot further afield as well. George Inglis and the Rocking Horse.
Other
Yeah.
places for buy is what they say.
So
Other places for buy.
yes. So what sort of lineups have you had then with regards to, you know, what would, you know, in your typical gig, what would be your normal lineup? You know, do you sometimes move into like a bigger lineup if it's a
Yeah.
particular
Well,
venue?
you know the answer.
I know, yeah, I know that, but
well, it was usually bass, drums, and lead, and
Yeah.
myself, and sometimes we'd fling a piano player in or some other instrument.
yeah,
Yeah, it's but depending on the size of the gig and what have you, you know. But it's been it's been flexible, and sometimes it's been a trio.
Yeah.
But it's all been jolly good fun.
yeah. I'm going to say, does that make life easier for you sometimes when it's a bigger band, but then at times that can be problematic? Sometimes it's easier if it's just a trio.
Well, the answer is both.
Yeah.
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 When it's just a trio, that's less people get into trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although the sound of it was big, but it's a lot less hassle. Yeah.
But I mean, let's be honest now. I mean, I've heard you many a time going out and doing a gig, and it's just yourself and the guitar.
Me doing solo gigs.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've done a lot of them as well. Yeah.
Yep. And for me, it's not just about the songs that you sing and, you know, the energy with which you sing them. You know, it's also the personality of George that comes across, isn't it?
I wouldn't know. I've never seen me. You know that.
No, but I would say that your personality is one that instantly endears itself to the crowd, you know, whereby, you know, you often finish a song, you know, with you know, I love you all, you know, and then it's just great.
Yeah.
You know, there's no harm in telling people that, you know, you appreciate the fact that they appreciate you.
It's a thing that you kind of learn on your way through. Many years ago, we played at this gig, and you know, we used to play places we played were always busy. And this girl, she said, somebody asked me, why do we all like to come and see you? And she said, I couldn't think why. But she said, it's because I feel wanted.
Yeah.
And I always remembered that, and I thought, now you must let the folk think that you know, I want to see them as much as they see me, you know.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, absolutely. Are you now I see that you've got a guitar there.
Can't play it, don't worry.
Go on, usual question. How many guitars have you got, and have you got a favorite guitar?
I've got five or six.
Yeah.
But I don't have a favorite guitar. This is probably the best one, but it needs new strings. But the others are better for playing in the band. You know, they've all got a reason that they're better when they're plugged in. You know.
Yes.
So this is better as a guitar, an acoustic guitar.
Yes. Yeah. And when it comes to getting the strings, do you normally pop in to see Neil at the music station in Gala?
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I've been in to see him before this little episode.
Yes.
I didn't go on.
I think since this lockdown's been, he's delivered to me personally a really nice copy of a Gibson SG and a really nice Marshall amplifier and various other strings and stuff. So yeah, he's a good lad, is Neil. So you know, we hope that that Gala keeps its music shop. Would you like to give us another little rendition?
This could be fun. Well, as you know, we play at the Grand Ole Opry quite a lot,
Yep.
and I made up this little song for them because I love them so much.
Yes.
There's a little bit of Texas here in Glasgow. If you don't believe me, come along and see. When the weekend comes, it's where you're gonna find me at the Glasgow Grand Ole Opry. If you're looking for a little bit of Nashville and you haven't got the fare to Tennessee, I know where you're gonna find some at the Glasgow Grand Ole Opry. You may be a city slicker, and you like the sound of pedal steel. Well, I know where you're gonna find some at the Glasgow Grand Ole Opry. There's a little bit of Texas here in Glasgow. If you don't believe me, come along and see. When the weekend comes, that's where you're gonna find me at the Glasgow Grand Ole Opry. When the weekend comes, that's where you're gonna find me at the Glasgow Grand Ole Opry.
Excellent, excellent. Well done, fantastic. I was going to ask you, songwriting.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is interesting because my granddad was a variety hall accordionist. Him and his brother were top variety hall accordionists, and of course, back then, what they did was they took popular songs, well-known songs, in the variety hall and added their own words to them. And so it seems to me, yeah, I think so. I think so, yeah. But it was things like, you know, they would take classic Italian songs like Vini sul Mar and change them into Two Lovely Black Eyes, you know, and stuff like that.
Did they?
No, they didn't. They played in the variety halls, but there were other singers that did all that sort of power. Their job as accordion duo was just to play, you know, sort of well-known sort of tunes like operatic tunes, etc. But in the variety hall, you had that sort of stuff, you know, where they would take a well-known tune. I mean, going back to the days of even Charles Wesley, you know, the minister, he would take a popular tune and add new words to it. But is this something that George you've always done? Is add, you know, change the lyrics?
They did a lot of that in the folk clubs, you know.
Yes.
Back in the 60s, you know. And Matt McGinn was the king of that kind of stuff.
Matt McGinn.
You must have heard that song.
Well, Matt McGinn is one of the artists I featured on one of my previous live chats. With he did a song, Tony Capaldi, Asa Kareem.
I said a cream.
I said a cream. Tony Capaldi, Asa the cream.
He definitely did.
Yeah. So, but you've also done your own songwriting, haven't you? You've written your own songs.
Knocked up the old little ditty.
Yeah.
I
mean, you've had number ones in the UK country charts.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, probably, you know, I mean, I remember meeting you in Neil's music station, and I got you to sign the CD, Barstool Cowboy.
Yeah.
I just love that song. I just love the song and the video that goes with it. I think you've got what's his name? Jimmy Gold on the accordion on that one. Is that right?
Well, that was on the video, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And what I'll do,
Skin boots and Stetson hat, hanging on the bar is where he's at. He's a barstool cowboy. He's a barstool cowboy. He's a barstool cowboy. Never been on the range. Skin tight jeans and an old guitar, singing all the songs in the honky-tonk bar. He's a barstool cowboy. He's a barstool cowboy. He's a barstool cowboy. Never been on the range. That's not the whole song, right?
I
It
know,
goes on a
it's
little
fantastic.
bit longer than that.
It's a fantastic song, I must admit. What I'll do is I will include in the description to this video, I will include the link to your YouTube video of that.
Yeah,
So that if people want to see the longer version, they can do that. Now, I wanted to ask you about, obviously, having number ones in the UK country charts. That must be some of the highlights. But are there any other things that that I mean, I remember playing at your special party that to celebrate yourself at the Mac Arts Centre. Was it last year?
A year past.
Yeah. But you've I mean, you must have had so many highlights. Is it can you look back on some the number ones, particular concerts and gigs that you've done that you think, yeah, I particularly enjoyed that?
Yeah, it's a funny thing that lots of gigs at TVs, radios, and stuff like that, and usually they're all filled with a lot of worry, And on the road you go, oh God, thank God that's fast, and that goes for my car. So it was a great night. We had a great night in there, but you think, well, once it's over, you think, oh, thank God that's fast.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite gigs was with a guy called Del Shannon, who you've obviously heard of.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't nothing I did. It was me being able to watch him,
But
he was just fantastic. The number of songs that he'd written.
Wow.
And he just rolled them out one after the other. Every one a smash hit,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's my favourite gig, as I say. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I obviously Runaway was his big hit, wasn't it? Runaway.
That was one of them, yeah.
Yeah, but you're saying there's lots of others.
Yeah.
So I suppose we're sort of slowly running out of time. I don't want to keep you too long. I know that it's. I can imagine that you've had a few sort of troubled thoughts about doing what we're doing just now, and hopefully it's not been too stressful. What I was going to ask you though, what would you say would be your worst and best things about being a musician? What's the best thing about being a musician? What's the sort of worst things that you've come across?
I don't really think it's a choice you make. I don't know why I ever did it. I don't know why. I mean, as I say, well, I'm getting a little mouthy. I played the tune, and then I squeezed off, and I played the tune on that. And if I see a piano, I must go and have a shot on it.
Yeah.
And your guitar, you take it down and have a shot. I don't know. We're a wee bit mad, I think. I think
Yes.
we're a bit crazy.
Yes.
And I don't know why we do it, because there's a hell of a lot of road work and long nights, driving in the middle of the night and bad weather and everything. Anybody with half a brain wouldn't do it,
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it, when you get the I mean, I've had people come up to me and say, midnight finish, and they say, well, you were booked from 7:30, but we didn't start till 8:30. Are you going to do an extra hour for us? It's like no.
Yeah. Like New Year, going up to wherever that place was you went. Where did you go at New Year? Where did you go at New Year?
Oh,
New
New
Year?
Year.
Yeah.
I was I was Pitlochry.
Pitlochry, yeah.
Yeah.
And a snowy night, wasn't it?
It often is on New Year's Eve, isn't it? It often is, and sometimes you think it's maybe not a good idea during the winter to book somebody for Hogmanay that's got to come 150 miles. You'd be better off with somebody local. But on the other hand, it's people go with what they know, don't they? And
yeah,
it's fair enough.
Well, I've done it both ways. The worst night we ever did was I think we played at Millport.
All right.
One night. The next night we had to be in Fort William.
Wow.
Yeah, Fort William or Oban. Oban it was.
Oh, wow.
And we played Oban on the Old Year's night.
Mm-hmm.
And then we finished at stupid o'clock in the morning, and we had to be at Hoyk Liberal Club for the lunchtime session.
Yeah.
On New Year's Day.
Wow.
And it was like about 3 feet deep in snow up in the Highlands,
Wow.
Oh, what a carry on that was! That was incredible. I think that's the most stupid thing we've ever done. Yeah. There's time you get to Millport and back across on the ferry, up to Oban, do the gig, middle of the night, and then I think we did have a wee sleep, and then down the road into Hoyk, set up the gear, playing by lunchtime, That was terrible. Yeah. And then we have a wee break in the afternoon and play again at night. And that was a crazy scene. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I would say that for me, probably my worst nightmare would be, that whole notion of struggling to get to the gig because of the weather. And my second one would be to arrive at the gig and the gear not work.
Oh,
that's always, and invariably you can always, I think you can always put it down to some sort of cable problem, can't you? There's a cable somewhere in the link that's not working right. It's enough.
The way if you're going to have a band, for anybody that's wanting to start a band,
yeah,
the best thing is to have someone at the music shop, someone that's a mechanic, and someone that works for the local paper that can do the publicity.
Yeah.
And you don't worry if they can play or not,
Yeah. It's when you think of what we put ourselves through at times, it's enough to drive anyone to drink. But I believe that that you yourself have been off drink for quite a while now.
I'm sure it's 10 years since.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I've stopped gradually. I just cut back and cut back till I cut it out, But it must be nearly 10 years now.
Wow.
Since I've had filthy liquor in my mouth, I wouldn't do such a thing. After all, we don't get any younger.
No.
And, you just can't do it any longer, so you have to stop. Yeah. If you don't stop, it'll stop you.
Well, that's yeah. I must admit, I'm a bit of a. We were talking about Neil down at the music station. I remember last year I stopped for, it would have been about 3 months, and then I went over to America, to Wisconsin, and it was a very good close friend of mine that said, could you not have a few beers while you're across? Just for the fun of it, So I said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. But I am really trying to cut back because it's an easy habit to get into, and it must have been quite difficult to get out of.
It wasn't really for me.
No.
Because you can't drink and drive.
No.
So we're driving all the time.
Yeah.
And it just got pushed to the back of the agenda,
Yeah.
So you look like you're still in America, by the way.
Do you know where I am? Can you tell where I am? I'm in Monument Valley in Utah.
Yeah.
And you thought I was in Galashiels.
I thought you were. Well, it didn't look like you were in Galashiels.
Yeah.
I thought you were in the Grand Canyon, to be honest.
Yes, yeah.
Like on Death Valley or something.
Yeah. Oh, near Death Valley. It's Monument Valley. It's called, and they've got all these huge, I don't know, they're almost like pillars, aren't they? That are left from the age of the dinosaurs. You know, it's fantastic. Anyway, George, sorry.
I better like myself.
Oh, that was not a pun. That was not intended. George, I'm gonna. It's 9 o'clock. I do thank you for coming along and accepting the invitation to have a chat with me. I would also very much like to thank Dave Ewell, who is our sort of cameraman, technical expert, and just basic good guy. I have seen Dave many a time. You know, when you said to me, you know, I said to you, Dave, I'm sure I recognize that name, and you said, but he's not a musician. But as soon as you said, as I saw him,
yes, he was a very famous drummer in his youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Would you like to finish off with one more tune?
Well, seeing you're in America, this song was written by Jeffrey Epstein. She was only 16, but I love her so. She was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to know. We'd laugh and we'd sing and do the little thing to make the love flow. She was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to know. Oh, why did I give my heart so fast? Never would happen again. Well, I was a mere lad of 16. I've aged a year since then. Whoa, only 16. Only 16. With eyes that glow. She was too young to fall in love, and I was too young to know. She was too young to fall in love. Yeah, I was too young to know. Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Paul Capaldi.
The pleasure, George, has been all mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.